How's it going, guys? RealRadman here, back at it again with another video. We have the career mode details. So basically everything you need to know about career mode is right here. We have a couple of surprises and I think it's pretty good, but we'll break down the entire video. This video is the career mode dev diary, so basically dev diary number 2, and it is from Gameinformer, so I will link the article that the video comes from in the description below if you just want to watch it straight through, and then you can come back here, watch the breakdown of it. It's 3 minutes long, so let's get right into it.
Every year we try to improve it and make the game more and more authentic. To do a great job is not just one thing, it's getting thousands of details right.
We're really excited about career mode, not just because we added 2 new series, but also how you do on the racetrack will determine what kind of contracts you get and how much money you get from the various sponsors and which teams you'll be able to ultimately drive for.
The whole experience was really motivated by discussion when we had a chance to talk with some of the NASCAR drivers, and they described what the experience was like to start out as a new driver and break into the series.
Alright, so let's pause it here. You can see the menu screen. We have start season 1, you have the contracts, you have the standings, the teams, and then you can exit the career. So you can look at all the teams, you can look at the standings, you have contracts like the screen before where it gave you a couple of cars and like, listen, this is your contract, it has a certain number of stars, certain amount of money, so you have a bank. That bank will be important for, I'll get into that later, but that bank will be important for certain reasons. And you can also customize your car a little bit. The customization of the car, when we get to that point, is a little bit confusing in this video, but I'll try to explain it the best way I can, how I interpret it, and I'll try to relay that the best way we can. But there are no offline stats. Some people have wanted me to talk about that, and What If Racing and Disco Inferno have already talked about it. You guys could go check out their videos. I didn't feel like it was a need for me to talk about it, but offline stats are not in the game, so they might be in an update later on, but it's a slim chance that happens, and then they'll definitely be in the next game, but not this one. So that's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, obviously offline stats are important for a lot of people, but that's just one thing that isn't in the game. But let's focus on this video. This is the menu. This is basically what you're going to have. So let's move on.
Break into the first time they race, and so we kind of modeled the whole experience after that.
One of the things that we wanted to model was how it feels to be a driver when somebody comes to you and says, hey, we're going to offer you a new sponsorship on a new team, and what that might feel like to leave the current team that you're on. We also wanted somebody who really liked the team they're on to be able to stay within that team. So as you get better, the team you're on gets better.
All right, so pause it right there. So you heard, as you get better, the team gets better. So you have the hot seat feature. You can basically, pick a contract. These are all kind of like one race deals, basically, where this is a hot seat. You got to perform well in that race. But if you perform well, you can stay with that team. Like, let's say the team gives you another contract offer, and then you could race for them again, and then you race for them again, and you race for them again. And you kind of like, let's say you sign like a long-term deal. The way you race, it will affect how that team, develops. If you have good races, the equipment you get from the team will get better because you make more money so basically they can be able to afford you to get a better car.
We're really excited this year to have Brad Kozlowski involved in aiding our development, and one of the things we did early on was show him what we're planning to do for career mode and what it was like, and he was able to kind of give us some guidance and suggest some features. One of them that we're really excited about is this idea of momentum.
From week to week, if a driver is able to successfully race well and return home with his car intact without damaging it, the team can then therefore focus on improving that car from week to week rather than rebuilding cars for the driver.
All right, let's pause it there. So you heard momentum. This is something that has never been done in a NASCAR game before. This is a surprise. This is one of those new kind of deals. So you can see that in this screen we have, a driver with KBM. It's a 5 races. You can get 3 top 5s, 2 wins, whatever. However that works. Although it looks like there's 3 checks to the races, and then you have 2 wins, but no top 5s, which doesn't really make sense. I don't know what's going on there. But let's get back to the momentum thing. So basically, like I said, if you are competing well, if you're running well, if you're meeting what the team wants you to meet, you gain this momentum, and the equipment you get becomes better. So the car itself becomes better. It's all about how you race with the equipment you have. So there's no real, okay, I want to upgrade my suspension. I want to upgrade my engine. I want to upgrade, my brakes. You kind of don't have to deal with that. The developers have given you basically just a driver career. You have to focus on your driving, whatever equipment you have. You got to go out there and do your job and come home with the best finish possible with that equipment. If you do well, if you start winning races, if you start getting top 5s and top 10s, the equipment with the money slowly gets better. That's the biggest key with momentum. I think it's a great addition to career mode, and I think it takes away some of the basic, oh, well, I gain this kind of money, and, then I can upgrade my car with R&D. We've had that a lot. This is a different way of going at it, where you don't really have to worry about that part. You just have to worry about what you do on the track, and that will help you the further you get along in the career mode.
Having momentum improves basically the equipment that you get to race with.
This idea of momentum is really critical to, a team in real life, and so we wanted to model that in our career mode.
In the real world, drivers have to make a decision every time they hit the track. How they drive and how they treat their fellow racers on the track have real world implications.
You start running some guys off the track and you start really being aggressive or overly aggressive with a couple different drivers, from race to race. You'll get feedback from real life drivers telling you, hey, you gotta cut it out there. You're developing some enemies.
Your rough driving's starting to make a few enemies out there. You might want to be careful.
All right, let's pause because cringe. Brad Keselowski, I love you, man, but that was pretty cringy. But that's good. What annoys me with NASCAR Heat Evolution, and it's in this game a little bit, but not as much, is that these messages, like, oh, look, you have the contract, but it's a little message. What I've been kind of pleading for is, if you remember NASCAR 2005, which I'd love to compare this game to, because that's what it looks like it's becoming. NASCAR 2005, it had the rival system. This game now has the rival system, and it had an agent, and then you'll have the agent give you calls and listen, this guy's mad, whatever, or you'll have Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart challenge you to some exhibition race. I thought it was cool just to hear drivers call you on that phone. In NASCAR Heat Evolution, it was just messages, and it was really annoying. But here, you have Brad Keselowski giving you a cringy message. I love you, Brad, like I said, but he gives you a message saying, hey, you're performing out there, you're pissing people off. So this will happen more often, and in the article it also said that Monster Gaming is actually working on getting more drivers involved. So more messages. Let's say if you drive for Kyle Busch, get Kyle Busch in there. He's basically the owner talking to you in a video saying hey, you're driving too rough out there. Or if you become really good friends with a driver, you can also get a video from whoever that driver is saying, hey man, thanks for racing me clean, whatever like that. So you have videos now that are going to come to you, which is an improvement. I think I like the phone feature a little bit more, but listen, it's an improvement. It's really good in my opinion. So let's move on.
As time goes on, you develop sort of on-track rivalries with a couple other drivers who will race you really aggressively.
Rivalries will make your experience in your career more difficult.
People always want to sort of take their own car and make it their own, and so we have a system in place that allows somebody to change up a base car and add, stripes and a bunch of different logos and stickers on it, so they can take something that they might think is cool and make it a car they can drive in the game.
Let's pause it there. So basically we have the rival system and the customization. So the rival system, this is very much like the NASCAR Thunder games, where you can beat up into a guy, he gets mad at you. Now the difference is, I don't think there's really an ally system. It looks like when you had the screen where neutral, mad, and rival, maybe you can get that neutral down to being like an ally, but I haven't heard anything about allies. But there is a rival system now, so if you race, let's say, John Hunter Nemechek very unfairly, he can get mad at you, but it is not just a one-time thing. So if you guys remember NASCAR Thunder, if you would really wreck that guy, he can become your rival almost instantly. But in this game, even if you really wreck that guy, it's kind of like a boiling thing. If you race after race, keep running into him, that thing will boil up. He can become mad, he could become really mad, and then he could become your rival, and then you guys will have a all-out brawl whenever you guys get next to each other on the racetrack. So it's a boiling thing. If you really want to piss someone off, you can do it in this game now, and that is good to see. I don't know how the HUD is going to react, because in all the HUDs that we've seen in NASCAR Thunder, something will pop up saying, listen, this guy's your rival. It'll put like a red circle around the number. In the gameplay we've seen so far, we haven't seen any of that, so maybe you'll just have to memorize who your rivals are out on the track, or maybe the game will assist you and be like, hey, this is your rival right here, and he's going to try to race you really hard. So we haven't gotten there yet. Now let's talk about customization. This is where it's a little bit confusing. The customization is not fantastic, but it is there. Another step. Yes, a lot of people have been asking for a paint booth, and that is definitely somewhere down the line, but it won't be in this game. So we have a little bit of customization, but the only confusing thing is, I'm very confused by the fact is, can we customize the car that we have under contract with the team? So let's say if we're racing with Kyle Busch Motorsports, can we customize that car that we're driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports? Or are we customizing our own car and we're getting our own money under our own team? That's the only confusing part. That wasn't really explained very well. I'm a little confused on that part. But other than that, I think it's a good idea. If you can customize the car when you're running for a team, like another team, and you can customize your own car, I think it's pretty cool, to be honest. And, it makes the driver feel like, that's you. Maybe you could... I think in the next game, a better step would be fighting for sponsors. So you're fighting for contracts and you're fighting for sponsors. I feel like that would be a better step because sponsors in real life have become such a big deal in the marketability of a driver. So let's say like Bubba Wallace is very marketable. I think it'd be a better idea next year to, instead of allowing the player to customize their own car, if it is for that team, whatever team they're driving for, you gotta fight for sponsors. I feel like that'd be a little bit better idea, but it's an improvement. So let's move on.
Essentially, for each series, player can come into the custom car setup and create their own look through decals and essentially create their own visual identity.
NASCAR Heat 2 arrives September 12th. Pre-order now at NASCARHeat.com.
And that was that for the dev diary. So career mode details, guys. Let's run through it. Let's summarize everything. So the career mode will start in the truck series, and as you go through your initial season, you'll get a hot seat race offer in the next series. So I'm reading this all from the article. So if you guys can follow down below by clicking the article down in the description. Meet the criteria in this, and you can get an offer to jump up to the Xfinity at the end of the year. So it doesn't look like that you can jump to Xfinity mid-year. Maybe you have to spend a year in trucks and then go to Xfinity the following year. We don't know yet, but that's what it sounds like. When you accept a contract from a team, you take over one of their cars and replace that driver. And overall, there are no driver retirements, and other drivers will stay in their series and do not migrate up. So William Byron will not go to the Cup Series. Casey Kane will not move cars. We are not at that level yet. Hopefully that's something for another, down the line in the future. But for this game, the drivers will not retire and not move around. You can race in multiple series at once and even do a multi-series race weekend if the schedule aligns. Just like NASCAR 2005 and 2006, you can race multiple series if you want. And you can, do multi-series race weekends, and it should be fun and awesome. And I feel like in this game, you won't have the issue of I have to pick one or the other. That was a problem in 2005 where a truck race and let's say nationwide qualifying would run together and you could only pick one. That was a little bit of a problem, so hopefully you'll be able to just do everything and it aligns pretty nicely. You could stay in the same series if you want. You don't have to move up, so you can just run trucks your entire career. Brad Keselowski helped out with the rivalries and the friendships, so both are naturally formed of how you treat drivers on the track. You also get video messages and stuff like that to immerse you into the game. The rivalry system has a ramp-up period, so you're not going to see a driver go crazy if you have a run-in. It will boil over, so tempers will just continue to boil over, and the more you go at it, it could become really bad. Driver relationships do cool off between seasons, so rivalries and bad feelings between drivers are not always permanent. And the studio says it also wants to make it so large wrecks at a plate track, for instance, don't make you a bunch of enemies. So like let's say in NASCAR 2005 you would wreck at Daytona in a huge wreck and then you have 5 different rivals. They're trying to make it to where that doesn't happen because it's plate racing, it's a wreck, it's racing, so that was one flaw there that they're trying to fix, so that's really good news there. You get driver feedback from Keselowski, like I said, with the message system. It's also with other drivers as well, and Monster are trying to get more drivers involved, and they will pop up after races. Team momentum is earned by strong finishes at the track from week to week. The idea is your strong performance will lift your team members and crew and ultimately giving you a stronger, better performing car. And in general, the longer you stay with one team, the better it gets. So if you want to stay with the team and try to improve them, you can. And that basically, if you want to take, let's say, RCR back to the top, you can do it. If you want to take a backmarker single car team and take it to the top, you can do it as well. So that will replace the last game's upgrade function. So like I said, you don't really have to worry about the upgrades, which I like. The upgrades are very just like, basically, oh, you gain some money here, upgrade the car. No, you don't have to do that. It's basically you are given the equipment, and you got to go out there and do what you can with that equipment. The article also states that it hopes the messages are not recycled. That's a big deal. Hopefully Monster in 704 games can get as many drivers as possible so they can just continue to send the messages. I really think for the next game an agent or something like that, like an owner or an agent, would be a really good addition on top of the drivers that give you messages. You have an agent that always gives you messages telling you what contracts you have, telling you what rivalries you have along with the drivers. I think that would be fantastic. But that's for the next game. This was all for this game. I know this was a very long video, but guys, that's basically career mode. It has a few surprises. I think it's a great step for the next game, and as the year continues, or as the years continue, we could get better with it. And it looks pretty fun. It looks like maybe there's replayability as well. If you have to be in the trucks until the end of the season, that's good, because I don't want to just go to Cup within, like, let's say 2 seasons. So hopefully the game kind of forces you to be like, listen, take your time. You got to win in trucks, then take your time, win in the Xfinity Series. And let's say you don't win in the Xfinity Series. Let's say you run 25th every single week. You're not going to get a Cup ride. So you have to do well in that truck and Xfinity Series before you get the Cup ride. So I think it's pretty awesome. And I think we're on a pretty good step here for the next game. Guys, if you like the video, make sure that like button. Again, if you haven't done so already, go check out the article from Gameinformer. This was from them, given to them by 704 as well. And yeah, so hopefully you guys like the video, and comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys later. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and peace out.
Even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change. Even if I tried, my love, she keeps me warm.